Hello and thank you for joining us on Africanews. After 13 years, the joint United Nations African Union peace mission to the Darfur region came to an end on December 31st. Since then, over 200 people died in just 3 days in what has been described as another episode of intercommunal violence. Many fear with international forces gone, the situation could worsen in the coming months. Joining me today from Khartoum to share some insight on the situation in Darfur is Geneva Call's Country Director for Sudan and South Sudan, Maiwen Ngalueth. Maiwen Ngalueth, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let me start by asking you, what is the cause to this new episode of intercommunal violence?
The episode of violence that we see today in Darfur is not something new in itself. It's very much a continuation to what has been happening in this region for quite some time right now. As we know, the conflict is reducing now with the peace process, where most of the non-state armed groups in the region have actually joined the government in Khartoum. But at the other level, there is also the element of communal violence that is very much cannot be separated from the political dynamics in the region. These dynamics, of course, continue to create tension in the region and to lead to this kind of bloody conflicts that we see.
Is the current situation in some way a legacy of the policy that former Sudanese ruler Omar al-Bashir applied for decades in Darfur?
For us as Geneva Call, as a neutral organization, what we can definitely confirm and what we see on the ground is that the situation hasn't changed so much when it comes to protection of civilians, even if there's a political will in the current government to enhance the protection of civilians on the ground.
With the joint United Nations African Union mission coming to an end, the Sudanese security forces will have to take over the protection of civilians in the area. But do you think they have the capacity to do so today?
We can see today it's not an easy task. It is not an easy task, and we think as Geneva Call, even in situations where you have a stable and, let's say, a strong peace process, you always have issues of protection of civilians arising. With the people that we met here in Khartoum, we see a real political will, whether that is from the government side or from the non-state armed groups that have signed the peace process. We see a genuine will to enhance the protection of civilians in the area. What we see also on the other side is that the needs are much more than the available resources, and that's why Geneva Call is here. That's why the international community should be part of the process to support the local authorities, to support the people of Darfur in ensuring a proper and enhanced protection for all civilians in the region.
Can we stay optimistic regarding the recent international mobilization for peace in Darfur?
It's a turning point for the country, and this is not a situation that can be taken for granted in a country like Sudan, where conflict has been raging on, I would say, for the past 30 years. What would be a big gap is the protection of civilians, taking into consideration the fact that the new mission, the new United Nations mission, doesn't have a protection of civilians component, and this is a huge gap. And this is why organizations like Geneva Call and their presence in the context of Sudan is very, very, very necessary.
Maiwen Ngalueth, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Maiwen Ngalueth, Geneva Call's Country Director and Operation Coordinator in Sudan and South Sudan, sharing some insight on the recent violence in Darfur. For more information on what is happening in Sudan, feel free to head to our website, africanews.com. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.